All right, guys, we are back with Game 2 right now. We got to get into it real quick just to make sure we don't miss out on First Blood here. Because Power Rangers, we talked about the smoke earlier. Both teams said something about smoke, and I can't believe this, but we're actually going to see Pilot getting caught out. First Blood may just go the way. Pilot going to be slowed up. Windrunner should be able to get out, though. My goodness, that was cutting it close. AC... We finally got our remake going, and I can welcome in AC into the broadcast, who's going to be doing all of our play-by-play, except for that attempted First Blood.
That was a close call, but the Windrunner able to find her way through the trees, and just not enough stuns, and really that might be what this game comes down to. We saw basically the entirety of the reliable disables PR has at their disposal used right there, not even enough to track down a level 1 First Blood with Chilling Touch to add to the damage, and that's going to be a continuing issue. They've got the Impale, they've got Vengeful Spirit's Magic Missile, they also have the Cask, but again, the Cask not very reliable. The Impale can be excellent, especially if they're able to get up a mobility item and so on and so forth, but on the side of C9, they just have so much control. They've got Shackle Shot, they've got Frostbite, they've got the slow that comes off of Nova. Hold on, they're going to try to jump on Bone 7. Very nice jump to get away from the Magic Missile, so PR once again trying to make things work with this offensive tri-lane. They're going to be up against a very, very experienced player on Puck, though, in Bone 7. And when we saw the Invoker and the Puck come out, we knew either one could end up mid. This time, Bone 7, though. Hang on here in mid. Pylai Dai taking some damage, as is ZXC. ZXC going to catch a little bit of auto attack damage. Pylai Dai continuing to be slap fight, or take some slaps from Cheshire Cat. But the aggression coming fast and heavy so far all across the map. The big winner here, though, going to be Eternal Envy, who has let the free farm. Bone 7 being chased all the way down below his tier 1 tower, may be able to jaunt away, phase shifts, and jaunts back. And, you know, this is going to be an ongoing issue. Trying to track down Puck with this kind of a lineup without a lot of heavy stuns to rely on, only the two, the Cask and the Magic Missile, going to be tough going for Power Rangers. And once again, they can't afford to fall too far behind with this carry Venge.
Yeah, you've got two pretty much stun missiles going out, and two different ways for Puck to be able to disjoin it. This should be a very easy lane for Bone 7. He may seem like he's taking a lot of aggression constantly, but proper phase shift will be making him pretty much invincible in this lane. Pilot bad position here, but should be fine.
Oh, no, he actually got caught. And one last auto attack puts First Blood on the board. F-God going to be the return kill going the way of Bone 7. And that had to be right at the absolute tip of Cold Feet. Cold Feet and the range on it. It's the break distance is 740. He had to be right at the edge of it, but it did proc, and that allowed one last auto attack to give a slight edge to PR in that regard. But to be honest with you, that's just the start. The fact that it was Pylai Die and not Bone 7 that dropped there, this is what worries me. A Lifestealer is a hero that you can build him out, you can play him a variety of ways. He's always going to peak right around the same time. But giving him complete and unfettered free farm is just such a huge risk to take. You have to capitalize in every other lane to make up for that. And to be honest, yeah, he's already got up an Orb of Venom. He knows he's going to be going up against this Nyx Assassin from Cheshire Cat. This would not be a game where it would not shock me at all to see Eternal Envy get a very early Midas after that Orb of Venom.
Yeah, honestly, it's not really necessary for Pylai to be bottom. Puck doesn't really need a whole lot of extra help here, but then again, at the same time, like, Eternal Envy doesn't need Crystal Main at top, so what else do you have? Constantly ganking in middle, they are trying to put a lot of pressure on this Death Prophet, and that's going to be essential. If they can shut the Death Prophet down, it means that Power Rangers are no longer lacking, no longer have that big pushing power and that big carry that's going to be able to take them through the mid game and potentially end the game by like 35 minutes. So if they could just shut down Death Prophet in lane, they're going to be looking very, very nice going into the mid game.
Cheshire Cat up at top in some trouble. There's the Rage and the dive behind the tower. And Eternal Envy not just having unfettered free farm, finding himself a kill as well with the help of AUI, who rotated out and was there. And, you know, this laning phase is already looking very problematic for me for PR. They need to do something. This bottom lane, I'm actually liking the decision to put Pylai Die down here more and more just because you're spreading the experience a little bit more evenly. You're going to allow him to suck some experience already about halfway up to level 3, now sitting at level 2.5. Sing Sing here in mid is doing quite a good job. He's doubling up ZXC's Death Prophet, and nothing's really getting accomplished for PR. There's a chance, though. There's going to be a cast going to get one bounce. Pylai Die will end up dropping here. He got the Waning Rift off before he jumped away, but in the end, just doesn't matter as they manage to track down the Windrunner a second time. But Cheshire Cat, under cover of an invis, did spot out AUI. But, it's 2-2 right now, but this is not a break-even proposition for PR. They really can't afford to be trading evenly. They need to really put the pedal to the metal, and they're going to try by rotating FGOD up the top. Very tough to make something happen here. AUI is going to make a very appetizing target, and Cheshire Cat in position. There it is, the auto attack as well as a two-man impale. They managed to get the cask off. Can they get a good bounce? They will be able to bring down AUI, but they're going to end up trading FGOD away for it. And to be honest, that's a win for them. The infest is there for AUI, and here he comes back out. I'm actually a little surprised he didn't infest out, then open wounds and go for a kill. But as it stands, again, an even trade. However, that's another kill going the way of Eternal Envy, and he is off to a phenomenal start and is even thinking about diving Cheshire Cat, who is going to be forced to teleport away. He'll take an auto attack on his way out, but will be able to make it to safety.
Yeah, being level 7, 5 minutes in, it's very, very few heroes who can deal with a lifestealer like that, and pretty much none of them are melee heroes. So I really think they need to address their tri-lane to this top lane. Like, putting the Vengeful Spirit up against that, again, we have the issue of the fact that they don't have an instant stun, so whether they're going up against the Puck or they're going up against the Lifestealer, even the Wind Ranger, they're going to have some issues because they won't be able to instantly lock down and chain stun that hero. However, the damage coming in from a Vengeful Spirit can allow you to combat Lifestealer a little bit, but maybe it's too late. I mean, Lifestealer level 7 has phase boots. That guy, it doesn't matter what tri-lane you're going up against, it's still going to be very, very tough for you to really put some pressure on Lifestealer when he's this farmed so early on.
I very much agree. Cheshire Cat frostbitten down. Here comes the TPN. They're going to try to engage on AUI. In the meantime, they spot out Envy, who did take a little bit of damage, but with those phase boots should be able to make it away. Yeah, he'll be all right. Nyx Assassin, in the meantime, does manage to... Oh, they actually did get the kill on Lifestealer. Just as I flashed away, FGOD managing to get that last tick, and that's more than enough to bring him down. So well played for them there. And they do manage to get AUI as well. So that's going to go a long way into getting things back under control. And we can see it was a 1,500 pure efficiency advantage for Cloud9 up until that point, as no towers had been brought down. And they were actually tied up in kills. But now down to just 1,000 gold advantage. Still, this laning phase has favored C9 so far. And yeah, expect to see a lot of this. Power Rangers, no matter how good they do getting kills across the board, they have to keep doing it. They really have to play like their hair is on fire and really just not take a breath.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much you have 3 roamers, with the Nyx Assassin joining the Witch Doctor and the Ancient Apparition in the movement around the map. They always have one hero who's not actually being able to farm up lane, not picking up CS. On top of that, they're not actually getting ZXC or their other carry, Vengeful Spirit. Moon playing that one, they're not actually getting them a big advantage. You look at the CS board, Vengeful Spirit is behind Lifestealer, and Voker is ahead of Death Prophet. You know, they need to be way far out ahead on these other 2 heroes if they're going to be roaming around like this, and they're not making it happen. And I can't believe we're going to see this. A very, very early Roshan with the Death Prophet ultimate coming into play. This, I suppose, is a really efficient use of Death Prophet Ultimate fairly early on, because oftentimes you're not ready for team fights or 5-man pushing this early on. So using the first Exorcism to get Roshan, that's going to be able to help out your heroes quite a bit. Not just the gold, the Aegis is nice, but experience is going to be pretty key here.
I feel like that is an excellent call for them to make. And it comes down to what you talked about. I mean, it's very tough to push with a fresh level 6, level 7 Death Prophet to begin with. But given that they really haven't opened up a lead, in fact, they're trailing in gold, they're trailing in experience at this point. Trying to push and just, doing it so overtly is going to would have given Cloud9 time to react. Instead, just trying to sneak something in, take what advantage they can get from the strengths of their team, and shore up that difference. And, they could defend this top tier 1. Doesn't look like they're all that concerned with it. Eternal Envy taking a shot or 2. Yeah, they will go ahead and rotate Moon up to try and stultify this. Pylite Die is there if they want to try to make something happen there. But the one downside to this more than anything, there was Bone 7, who was, he didn't die, but he was zoned out fairly effectively. He has managed to find a fair amount of farm. Has up his bottle. He's about halfway to a Blink Dagger, more than halfway to a Blink Dagger, as a matter of fact. So he'll have that very key item up sometime soon. But for the most part, the Roshan, really a nice call by PR. That gets this game very, very close to even.
Yep, 3 to 5, 9 minutes in, you could see that constant spam. We now are getting to the point where Sing Sing has a Tornado EMP and Death Prophet's paying for it. She no longer has that spam affordable in middle lane, and her CS will drop because of it. So Power Rangers need to start putting some pressure on this Invoker, because we all have seen the way that a Sing Sing Invoker just kind of gets out of control. Once he has that max movement speed and has all that mobility around the map, he becomes very, very dangerous, let alone when we see other items such as like Orchid or Scythe of Ice picked up, any sort of disable. A Quas Wex Invoker is actually very, very dangerous in those sort of situations. It's not as strong as an Exort build when it comes to just pure damage, but just the movement speed afforded to you allows you to have a little bit more chase. So it doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot of burst damage, but the damage over time afforded to you with the mobility and the constant spells being thrown out is going to be very, very good versus Power Rangers, because they are depending a bit on a damage over time lineup. They have some initiation, some burst with the Nyx Assassin, the Venge, and that sort of thing. However, between the Maledict and then the damage over time coming out from the Death Prophet, they want longer team fights, but that's going to play against them as you have heroes like Invoker becoming more powerful as team fights go on.
Dive on the ZXC, and we're going to see Envy forced to pull all the way back, and we actually see a super dive on Pile Die, and here comes Envy. Looking for a target. Good coil caught, too. They're going to be able to blow up FGOB enough before he gets a lot of damage done. And we're going to see a nice infest into a very well-positioned creep. Out he comes, going to work on Moon. Here comes the AA Ultimate. They're going to pop the Aegis off the bench, but Ancient Apparition able to shatter the LS with that ice. Moon back up, however. A lot of unfriendly faces staring at him as he comes back up. Bone 7. Going toe-to-toe. They will end up trading 1-for-1, so Moon gets a killing spree before he ends up dropping. In the meantime, though, ZXC doing what damage he can here to the tier 1 and mid. And, yeah, this is a very intense game. 13 kills in 11 minutes, and don't expect it to let up anytime soon. PR learned their lesson from drafting this kind of a lineup in game 1. Let that game get away because they got too calm as the game transitioned from early to mid-game. Not about to make that mistake. Instead, keeping the pressure up and keeping it reasonable. They're still down, but they're only down 1,000. The experience is actually just about a zero-sum. So at this point, I like PR in the way they're looking. They just have to continue because they don't match up so well the later this game goes.
Yeah, they're going to have some issues, but if you ever doubt the power of Vengeful Spirit early on, and Wave of Terror is huge. Actually, Pilot Eye is going to get picked off.
Pilot Eye, poor guy, has, well, to put it mildly, had a rough game. 0-4 to begin this game, and really just having zero effect on the map anywhere. I've not even seen a particularly good shackle or anything else. I mean, pretty much everywhere he goes, he's just the first to drop. Here in mid, though, it's Eternal Envy and AUI putting pressure onto the tier 1 mid. And they're going to try to do something to hold up this bottom tower. Actually, Sing Sing is withdrawing, and this time Face Shift Bone 7 could end up getting him killed. The EMP was thrown out, so there will be no other follow-up from Cheshire Cat. That first staff pays for itself and saving his buddy that time. Mid tower, tier 1, down to about a third health, while the tier 1 bottom, Power Rangers already has it down quite a bit as well, using the heal from the Witch Doctor to just tank through all of the tower damage. And trying to zone them out as best they can. You did manage to bring the tower down. There were 3 there from Cloud9, but instead just going to trade even as the tier 1 in mid should end up dropping fairly easily as well. Ale on the mark will catch them both. Can they follow it up? Moon's right there. Gets the swap onto the Eternal Envy, and he's just going to try to run away. Will be able to make it. No, they got him. Thought he made it away, but instead able to drop him at the very last second. And that is a worthwhile kill for PR. They're now doubling up Cloud9 10-5.
Yep, that Shatter coming into play, just being able to pop the Lifestealer at that last little tick there. Good, really good play there from Power Rangers. They set up the bait on that tier 1 tower beautifully. Had the AA ult landing as they were beating down the last couple of hit points on the tower, and then had those 2 teleports. It was perfect. Moon now getting his swap is going to be very, very good versus Lifestealer. It was an Vengeful Spirit actually used to be an old school pickup against Lifestealer a lot of times as a support, because you focus so heavily on one target with the Lifestealer. Just open wounds, and you try and target that one hero down. Well, swap was used oftentimes defensively against the Lifestealer. Here, PR are going to be using it a lot more aggressively, but it's still the same principle in the fact that just positioning a Lifestealer in the wrong place, surrounded by heroes, you can easily beat him down because with physical damage, because you've got the aura coming into play, you've got that minus armor, which is huge, up from Wave of Terror, -6 armor from that, and just being able to have the right clicks. Lifestealer is actually not all that tanky when he's being targeted like that. He has low armor, he has low health pool due to a small strength gain, but smoke up at top.
Moon in trouble, gets coiled down, has help from FGOT. There's going to be the swap, getting him back to safety. AUI committed to that way overly, knew he was cut off, so just tried to do what he could with right clicks before he ends up dropping. PR, though, in position to counter the puck attempted gank with the Lifestealer. And I'm not going to lie, this is feeling a little chancy now for C9. You look at the goal graph, it has flipped all the way down to 1,000 gold lead now for PR, almost the highest lead of any team in the game. The experience is back to even. But again, Cloud9 has the luxury of making this a waiting game. They're going to be just fine taking this to 40 or 50 minutes. PR does not have that luxury. No matter how many little skirmishes they win, it's not enough. They have to keep pushing the issue and have to keep this map active. And they're going to go kill Pile Die for must. Yeah, this is like what? How many times? Third time? Just can't catch a break.
Yeah, Pile Die is just getting caught out left and right. I suppose trying to make space, trying to aggressively farm up is what Cloud9 are doing. Okay right now. It's the reason why they have so much net worth on their heroes, despite the fact that a kill lead is obviously very much going the way of Power Rangers. It's because of the fact that they're farming very, very aggressively. Everywhere you see, they're pushing out. They're trying to attract the attention of Power Rangers. So even if they do get picked off, it means 2-3 other heroes are farming up in their stead. However, this does mean Power Rangers are getting a bit of an experience lead because of all these kills they're getting, which is very, very important on heroes like ZXC. Also, Moon having that level 2 swap is going to be very, very key. So they have two different heroes who counter a Lifestealer really, really well in the mid game with the silence and the physical damage coming out from Exorcism and the pure damage coming out from Vengeful Spirit, and just being kind of like a squishier targeted hero that is able to just provide a lot of damage in those right clicks. Those are both going to be very, very strong counters to Lifestealer going into the mid game. Now, you're right, late game, we're going to have some issues with Puck, Wind Ranger. Those are some decent supports to be able to back up a Lifestealer and an Invoker going late game. However, Power Rangers don't necessarily have to start pushing in these tier 2s until I would say about 25 minutes. I think with the Death Prophet, now that she's getting a lot more farm, it's going to be able to pick up a nice Yule Scepter. This buys them a lot more time. The biggest thing I was concerned about is Death Prophet being shut down. That's their main DPS. Vengeful Spirit is not a reliable enough carry to be able to go in 30 minutes in and go, don't worry guys, Vengeful Spirit has all this damage, because Vengeful Spirit, it can easily be caught out and it's still single target. No matter what you do, it's still single target.
Big kill there, picking off ZXC in the jungle. And this is what I worry about them. Like, you're right, they did have the luxury of trying to play passively and trying to hit a timing window, but in doing so, they allow things like this to happen. In front of the fight, we see Eternal Envy go and work on Cheshire Cat, misses with the impale. They managed to get a return kill on Bone 7. Good swap, but not enough to save him. Behind the fight, though, PR's lost too. Eternal Envy being kited around very effectively, and they managed to turn this around. And I have no idea why Cloud9 decided to hang around in this fight. Sing Sing's going to be able to get at least one more kill and be able to scurry away. So it is going to end up being a bit of a win for them. They got the Death Prophet, they got two supports, but losing Bone 7 as well as Eternal Envy in that fight, not really what they wanted. And Envy's got 2,000 gold tucked away after that latest death, but his item progression, not all that it could be. Sitting at 18 minutes in, he's only got drums and phase.
Yeah, he's fallen a bit behind the Vengeful Spirit. Death Prophet is beginning to catch up as well, despite the fact that he just got picked off. He had a kind of a rough early game with all of that constant harassment early on, and then the Tornado EMP came into play. His CS wasn't the greatest as it could have been. However, once he has that Yules, that completely changes everything, because we no longer have to deal with Tornado EMP. He can Yules defensively to single target of Lifestealer. Yules defensively, right? This Yules is going to be a really, really big pickup for Death Prophet to be able to sit there and do damage. And with these sort of AoE ultimates, with the Exorcism, with the Ice Blast, they have so many ways to be able to pop one hero. I think Sing Sing is actually going to be a much bigger threat than Eternal Envy will be in the 20 to 30 minute mark.
I very much agree with you, just the way this is panned out. We're going to find out if they can make something happen here. There's an impale shot from the low ground, and the H is picked up by Vengeful Spirit. Behind the fight, we see two already down. AUI will be able to make it away. But, yeah, that was not the best exchange for Cloud9. And to be honest, with those two down, as long as they're down, they're going to be able to take at least one tier 2, maybe even two of them. And, well, they could have. I'm actually surprised they didn't just try to rush down mid. I thought they were going to get the creeps, instead pulling back. In the meantime, Bone 7, or excuse me, Pile died. Did manage to push in the bottom lane a little bit, but for the most part, 16-8, PR still sitting in the driver's seat. But unfortunately, when you are doubling up the enemy in kills and you've taken 2 Roshans, but you're only about 100 gold ahead against this lineup that does have better late game potential, as much as tempting as it is to be like they're in the driver's seat, they're still not really hitting their mark. They need more things to happen.
Yeah, they're beginning to get there. The problem is they're just not quite ready for the Death Prophet push. Now that the Yules is up and he's got level 2 ultimate, I think they are good to get aggressive now, and they can start really 5-manning in. They just have to make sure that they don't get picked off. This is a really key moment, right? If Cloud9, they continue to be aggressive because they don't want to allow Power Rangers the opportunity to farm up 5-man, and then from there the game gets a lot tougher. So they're going to try and just aggressively pick off heroes left and right. Well, now that timing is over, Power Rangers, I think, are now able to 5-man down into towers, and now we see the real team fight potential of Power Rangers is going to be rising. They did a good job getting aggressive, finding pickoffs, creating room for ZXC, but now we get into the stage 2 of this lineup where now we see whether or not their 5-man push lineup is going to be good enough to actually be able to take towers early on. Cheshire Cat, though, may get caught out by a counter ward here.
Spotted out, yep, and he knows it too. One of the creeps attacked him, and oh, beautiful engagement out of Bone 7. That's a free one going their direction. There's going to be an AA ultimate on the way. Not going to catch anything or anyone. Power Rangers looking to maybe pressure the tier 1 top. This is where they have to be feeling a little bit of pressure now. They tried to make something happen there, didn't go their way, and they're now down a man. Their push completely unsuccessful. We're past 20 minutes. Again, they haven't opened up enough of a gap. The armlet is done on Eternal Envy at this point, and Sing Sing, as you mentioned, in great position, already has up his 4 staff and another staff of wizardry on the way too. We'll see if he's going to be going with a Necro book, what kind of build he wants to put together off of this. But for right now, again, I just worry a lot. This next engagement, whenever it comes, is going to be of immense importance. Envy actually isn't anywhere near this fight. He's all the way down in bottom right now. Might look to push. There's the ultimate exorcism by Death Prophet. And very well handled by Cloud9, just falling back, trying to run out the clock on it. They do have a glyph, and they will go ahead and use it. Crystal Maiden sitting off in the woods a little bit. There's the power shot spam doing a little bit of damage. They're not going to be able to save the tower, and they will be forced to pull back. In the meantime, though, Envy has continued to farm up and is going to pressure this bottom tier 2 as well. Let's see how much Power Rangers wants to push the issue now.
Yeah, I think Cloud9 actually want to fight this. They know the Death Prophet ultimate is down, and they could go for this with Aoi initiating from the side.
Yep. AUI in position, has recent field ready. Tier 2 under some pressure, and we're going to have Bone 7 spotted by Cheshire Cat. Spins the impale, or spins the Vendetta impale dodge, and as is the magic missile behind that, there's going to be a tornado that catches Moon. Moon loses all of his mana to the EMP. In the meantime, they're going to be trading even, as Envy is continuing to just bang away on that tier 2. AUI is still just hanging out, but he's been spotted. The creeps managed to catch him out, and he's forced the TP away. So behind that, Sing Sing actually gets the denied there. So they lose the map control, but at least don't give up that much gold. Let's see if they want to try to defend this bottom tier 2. And yeah, it looks like Envy not even got a chance. Just going to run straight away. So not a bad exchange for PR there.
Yeah, I mean, even though the denied tower went down, that sucks, but they didn't trade away anything significant against it. As long as they protect this tier 2 bottom and rotate their 5-man now to the bottom lane and start pushing that out, they should be able to continue this sort of trend where they just constantly force down towers. And Cloud9, they do a little spam here and there, but they don't quite have that really, really good jump without Eternal Envy joining them. Now, Eternal Envy right now, he's making the decision to split pushing rather than trying to join his team. I think they could have fought that with the Death Prophet ultimate being down, with a good infest jump in, that big Nakes bomb with Bone 7 leading the way with a blink and an ultimate. I think they easily could have taken that fight, but Cloud9 also know, and Eternal Envy, they know that if they make a big error in that team fight, Power Rangers are just going to be able to capitalize on that, because there goes all the split push pressure completely disappears. And then on top of that, they're going to be able to take a lot of towers. So they gain so much map control if a team fight goes wrong for Cloud9. So instead, they just angling a little bit more towards the late game. They know Power Rangers are going to grab these tier 2s. So go ahead, let them have it as long as we're trading for more farm up on EE.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. And again, that speaks to just how comfortable they are taking this game late. And, you know, this isn't it's a pretty clear-cut play style, but it's an interesting strategic choice to say, okay, we're not going to press ourselves too much. We're going to make you beat us because you're on a timer. And that forces urgency. It forces Power Rangers into a situation where mistakes are likely to become more common. And if C9 can capitalize and extend this game, they're going to be in good shape. But so far, PR has actually been playing this very well. Atos up now on the Death Prophet. She's tanking up quite considerably, up to 1,600 health. And the Tier 2 drop leaves only one outer tier tower remaining. It doesn't even look like they're concerned with it. They're going to push through and make Cloud9 come to a full fight. And here comes Cheshire Cat with a double damage. The Vendetta will be expiring, though. And looks like they're going to wait on another creep wave. In the meantime, here in mid, Envy just continuing to go to work. This is a decision that could end up really having a huge impact on whether this game goes late at all. I mean, he is continuing to hang. He's not in position. Is he going to just try to flat out push, or is he going to teleport home now? They're going to rush this. Here we go. Exorcism him up. Tornado EMP will connect EXC. Using the Yules to avoid that EMP blast that time. The creep wave being melted down. F-God tanking the tower a bit, using his heal. Mech's going to be popped to give them back, to get them back into fighting shape. They're trading a tier 2 for a tier 3 right now. Envy still in mid. And yep, Bone 7 gets a very nice coil off. Can they follow it up? F-God drops the power shot from distance. Cheshire Cat still up. BKB used on Moon. And the tier 2 in mid didn't even end up dropping. In the meantime, Envy has joined the fight. And they're going to try to pursue them out. Tornado will end up catching the AA. And they should end up getting him. But there's a nice sound. Beautiful shackle uphill. Connects and got to him. However, C9 had to pull back after the A ultimate. They get Moon in return. ZXC should be able to scurry away due to the slow on Eternal Envy. Behind that, there's the Yules used on Bone 7's puck to secure an escape there as well. So PR, they actually did manage to get the Invoker. So I'm going to guess Invoker, yeah, shattered to Ancient Apparition's Ice Blast. So they end up losing a tier 3. The tier 2 did drop eventually there in mid, but they did save the racks. Now, don't know that that's a chance that C9 is going to want to take too many more times moving ahead. As finally, we see an item picked up. It will be the plate mail on the way to an assault cuirass for Envy.
Yeah, this is something a lot of players can learn from. Cloud9, they give up a lot, right? All these tier 2s falling, even a tier 3 going down before they force the fight. But it was all for the betterment of their next engagement, right? They picked up a lot of gold on Lifestealer. They were able to get that Vlad's up. He now has a plate mail. They got him a lot of farm, and they made sure everyone had buybacks. So when the push did come in, they go ahead. Yeah. Death Prophet, her ultimate is out. It's doing a lot of damage to tier 3. Let it fade before you initiate. That was the big play there from Puck. Jumped in. They instantly killed one support, but then Death Prophet ultimate, and the rest of PR were in a bad position because all the damage was gone. They were right inside the base. The Death Prophet ultimate was coming back, and they had no damage to actually be able to contest Cloud9. So when Eternal Envy does teleport in, it's just cleanup from there on out. That was the big play that Cloud9 needed to make to turn this game around. Now they bought themselves so much room. We have a Dagon 2 up on Bone 7. Sing Sing is about to have a Necronomicon level 3. We already talked about Eternal Envy's items. Like, that is such a big upgrade to your team fight. Sure, Power Rangers might be able to end the game in the next push, but at least Cloud9 have a chance of being able to fight with a Death Prophet ultimate up. Before, if they went into a Death Prophet ultimate like that, with it already out and doing all the damage, they just would have gotten kited around and just targeted really, really well by Power Rangers. They've shown it time and time again. But look at this. I love this. Cloud9, with the map control that they take, they go ahead, push in middle, and trying their best to force Power Rangers back. If they have to take a fight into the Death Prophet ultimate, they will. With the items they have, they can. But for the time being, let's just see if Power Rangers have to back up or not.
Yeah, it's the definition of a bend but don't break strategy. They bent about to the cracking point, but managed to stay alive. Here's Cheshire Cat landing a nice impale. Can they bring down Sing Sing? Bone 7 trying to get away. Cheshire Cat eats a lot of damage there, and we're going to see the Death Ward go out as well. However, it's only Cheshire Cat that ends up dying through the whole thing. F-God taking a shot with his ultimate, unable to get anything done. In the meantime, Envy down at bottom hits the open wounds, forces the Yules out of the Death Prophet. Ultimate's still up and active, but they just don't care. AUI has to scurry away, eating too much damage. One last auto attack brings her down. And an unfortunate trade for PR, and this is likely to be the high watermark for PR now. And yeah, bend but don't break. C9 bent and gave up towers and gave up map control, but able to get up a few key items, as you had mentioned, able to get Envy into a much better situation to take on this team, better to get Code 7, the extra burst damage they really, really needed to bring down a tanked-up Death Prophet. And unless PR is able to do something creative now, they can't afford to lose another fight.
Yeah, this is something that I don't think you can even plan how close this was. Tier 3 going down before they force the fight, and now this time range ranks getting super, super low before they're actually able to turn. But Cloud9 basically displaying the perfect timing and the perfect strategy to counteract early push strats like this. Every single thing that they've done has been pretty much the best thing they could possibly do. Considering the way the laning phase went, wasn't great for them. They were at a disadvantage, and all of a sudden this push starts coming the way. It gets even more rough, but beautiful. I mean, they farmed up, avoided the push as much as possible, found their openings around the Death Prophet ultimate, and exploited them heavily. Once the DP ultimate is down, they really, really just push. Or when they force the rotations, right? Then they just get on Death Prophet and just take her down very, very quickly. Now being able to pick up a gem as well. Again, positioning so important for Cloud9 that they're willing to pick up an early gem to try and counteract a lot of this vision and stop Power Rangers from knowing where they're going to be at in the map, where this push is actually going to be coming in, how they're going to split push, are they going to be initiating? You know, they can absolutely actually fight Power Rangers now if they have a strong initiation.
They're going to have a chance to move in and stop this. They need to get there right now, though. Puck throughout the orb. He's got to back up in 5 seconds. That might be 2 seconds too long. He's going to look for a big silence and a big coil coming up. Roche down very, very low. Here it comes. And no, he didn't John in behind that. Yeah, they actually are just going to take a free Roshan. I'm really surprised. Now they're going to try to re-engage. Cheese is still on the ground. In the meantime, they're trapped inside the pit, finally looking to force their way out as Cheshire Cat and J4 make it to the high ground. Behind that, though, there's another good coil. Manages to catch 3, but no follow-up. The firepower split up from C9, and this is just flat-out misplayed. They had them hemmed up, and then they split their forces. And Sing Sing and Bone 7 able to get a little bit done as they were trying to exit the pit, but for the most part, Cloud9 just kind of flubbed that whole engagement. They lost AUI as well, and that's I didn't even see. Did they get the cheese? Did they manage to get that onto someone?
Yeah, that should have gone down. I believe they already popped it fairly early on.
Did they? Okay.
But I missed who grabbed it exactly. Invoker got really, really low there. If you didn't notice, he went down to 20 health there from that last Maledict tick. If they had gotten Sing Sing as well, that would have been huge. Cheshire Cat, I love that. The blind stun being thrown out because he thinks Pieliedie is teleporting away right now. But he's going to be pretty happy to find that Pieliedie doesn't have a TP scroll and may just be able to catch him out with this blink.
Yep, there you go. There's the Impale. He's got a Vendetta as well. And Pieliedie trying to make something happen. Vendetta spent, and he gets a gem because of that. You know, that's not the end of the world, but giving up a free gem because you didn't bring a TP with you, that's not what you want to do. 130 gold could have saved you 900.
Yeah, and after that team fight was a pretty big blunder, it means BKB up on Death Prophet, which can now dodge the Dagon.
What is the only item that costs more than 1,500 gold to be built over 10,000 times on record in Pro Dota 2 since mid-2002? I'm going to say Blink Dagger.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Force Staff would be a kind of close second, but the two mobility items are pretty much the constant of the meta. No matter.
Check that. Mechanism.
Mechanism might be second, but I think Blink. You only have one mech, right? You can have 10 different Blink Daggers in a game.
It's a good point. That's a very good point. Very good point. I don't know. It's Force Staff's a really good contender, though. Blink Dagger fell off for a while there. There's definitely a period where you saw many more Force Staffs than you do Blink Daggers. It's Blink Dagger, Force Staff, or Mechanism. I'm actually going to change mine to Force Staff. I think that's a Mechanism.
I'm going to stick with the good old faithful. I came in, my heyday of really playing competitive Dota 1 was back where Blink Dagger was not disabled from auto attack. So I got to stick with that one. Blink Dagger has always been my favorite item of Dota 1. So, mech is up. What other items do we have up for Power Rangers, though? Is Dagon, what level is that? Dagon 4 is up on Puck. So again, initiation being a very key factor for them, because if they can jump the Death Prophet before she pops her ultimate, or even better, disable the Death Prophet and be able to burst her down with that Dagon before BKB is popped, they have a good chance of being able to win this team fight. But as it stands right now, Power Rangers, if they can just get the right positioning, they can easily take a team fight and a Rax. However, Cloud9 are doing everything in their power to be able to find pickoffs or split push as much as possible. Every single time you see an opportunity for Power Rangers where they're trying to like kind of get close to the base, Cloud9 are countering them every step of the way. In fact, middle is a perfect example.
Here we go. Bone 7, good initiation, manages to get the coil off. F got in trouble, but the Dagon not enough to bring him down. Behind that, there's an impale to disjoint things, and Envy's going to be caught with the Ice Blast. He's going to be very careful, needs to infest just to secure himself a little bit of chance to retreat. Sing Sing caught with the Magic Missile, but the Death Prophet ultimate is yet to be popped. We can see Envy is still inside of retreat, will infest back out. Behind that, Pylite Die caught out all by his lonesome once again, and CXC is absolutely hustling. There's a Force Staff used there, and the Atos used to slow him down, and the Silence to follow it up, and the Yules to make sure he stays in place, and now just force the TP away. Stun, not there. Oh. So Moon tried to get into range, and unable to do so, but looks like everyone except the Witch Doctor of PR managed to make it away safely there. But Black King Bar, just as we were talking about BKBs before that fight broke out, I was just going to say that BKB is the one we kind of left out because it is so low cost, or it is so high cost compared to the other ones. But yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I was thinking the same idea you were, which was go for what is really, really close to 1,500. And he's going to get caught out at bottom. But yeah, that was just a huge blunder there from Power Rangers. That last second, they should have been able to pick off the Wind Ranger, mainly because ZXC, like the use of Yules there was completely not needed. I don't know why he hit Yules, because he even missed his Crypt Swarm because of it. And then on top of that, Moon swapping Ancient Apparition, who was about the same distance away from him as the Wind Ranger. Like, either way, they weren't going to be able to get that. So I don't know. There was just two different situations where they could have gotten the Wind Ranger and failed to. But so the example, going back to it, Cloud9, right, they push in top, they see the Death Prophet bottom, trying to get that lane closer to the base, and they immediately force a team fight in middle, but don't overly commit, right? They get the one pick off and then back up. Wind Ranger bought themselves so much time because ZXC, oh, hold on, middle.
Another good coil, managing to blow up the Witch Doctor, and Envy back out as well. That's the initiation. They've been wanting the whole match. However, ZXC's ultimate just so strong. And even though he's
Necronomicon.
Yeah. Actually manages to die to the Necro Creep. Has the Aegis pop, but it was going to be reclaimed in just 20 seconds anyway. So not the biggest end of the world, really. And if anything, might have even been more efficient than running back to the base to heal up and then coming back out after that fight. But nonetheless, they trade Bone 7 for the Witch Doctor. Not the best trade in the world, but again, this game gets later and later. We can actually see Cheshire Cat right in front of Sing Sing here. Sing Sing has no detection, and Cheshire Cat keeping an eye on him. There's another gem that's been bought by Pylite Die. Trying to hang on to this one. And Cheshire Cat got a quarter time left on Vendetta. He's waiting on some help. He's going to have to engage sometime soon.
Ice Blast.
And there it is. The Impale. Ice Blast is going to be on. Well executed there out of Power Rangers. That should end up ticking away and should come very, very close to killing him, if not for sure. And let's see.
The Agadims is going to be giving him enough time. Sek, yeah, he's definitely dead. It only needs 2 more ticks. And
says God.
Dead. Rest in peace, Sing Sing. But that was a great pickoff, right? That was beautiful. Power Rangers can now get aggressive. They've haven't really found good enough pickoffs, right? They grab a support, okay, whatever. That's not really good enough. Every single time they've just haven't had the positioning to really be able to capitalize on anything that goes wrong for Cloud9. Here they do. Look at this. Right now, middle, Moon is being pushed in. Moon is pushing in middle. That's good. Lifestealer is too far away from top to immediately start threatening the base before they actually get up. So if Power Rangers immediately just make a beeline for bottom and start going through going straight for that Rax, they're going to be fine, right? Lifestealer can't do nearly as much damage to a tier 3 that's at full health compared to a Death Prophet ultimate and Rax that is already very, very low. Sing Sing being down will have to buy back here, and hold on here. He does have buyback. So that's going to be the big contender there is Cloud9. They should buy back on Sing Sing, throw out the Tornado EMP spam, try and slow down Death Prophet as much as possible. They have 2 options, though. Do they give up a Rax, and they'll be able to slow down the push a little bit from Death Prophet with the Tornado EMP spam? Do they just let the Rax go down in exchange for Eternal Envy threatening a tier 3 and giving themselves just a little bit more time and trying to initiate after the Death Prophet ultimate is down? Or do they get really, really aggressive before Power Rangers can get in position and force a fight and get an initiation on the Death Prophet before they're actually set up and the ultimate's already ready to go?
Honestly, like, even with Sing Sing down, like you said, he has buyback. Pushing into Cloud9 is a very tricky proposition. Waning Rift can completely disjoint everything they have planned unless they want to pre-exorcism and try to rush in. And in that case, they do have a glyph up. They can try to weather the storm as best they can. They can try to bait it out and then fall back to their own tier 3 if they decide going to push down mid. F-God's actually caught with a shackle shot. Here comes Eternal Envy. He's just going to run right in, just rushes right past most of the Power Rangers and blows up F-God. And there's a coil on the Moon and J4. J4 going to try to get away. They do manage to catch him out. Won't be going home except in a body bag as Bone 7 finishes him off with one blast from the Dagon. And Moon, using that BKB to retreat, has to scurry back to the tier 3. But, you know, this is where things just had what we've been harping about the whole game. We're coming up on 40 minutes now. Where is the damage for PR? They've got Exorcism. That's about the extent of it. Vendetta's nice, but that's only a little bit of burst that really is not going to feel as powerful as you would want on anyone, except maybe the Crystal Maiden or maybe Highlight on. And Moon on the carry bench is just not going to be able to carry the water that PR needs to have carried at this stage. They forced a buyback on the Ancient Apparition. That might be enough to make Cloud9 decide now's not the time. But with Roche coming up sometime soon, an ensuing team fight on the way for sure. Sing Sing, good item progression for him. The Book 3, he's got 1,800 gold aside from that. Bone 7, already up to a Dagon 4, which is 700 burst damage, just absolutely massive. And at this point, even Eternal Envy is reaching very quickly towards 6-slotted status. He's got his Vlads, his Assault Cuirass, his drums, his armlet, and his phase boots. And, you know, he's got to have space for a TP at least for now, but may end up going for something even bigger sometime soon. It's going to be the Roche pit, though, that really determines what happens here in the next 5 minutes.
Yep. Roshan's going to be up in just another minute and a half, so right now Power Rangers really angling for that one. You can even see Sunstrike being thrown down occasionally by Cloud9 just to see if Roche is up in time. But unfortunately, despite the fact that I thought they were in a good position last time during that pause, ZXC, I thought his Exorcism would have been up, but it was actually 20 seconds on cooldown, so they couldn't immediately go into the base. I'm surprised they didn't try and take a fight anyway, but they need to start going for it now. They have to pop the ultimate. They have to go for tier 2, possibly even tier 3 right now before Cloud9 are ready to go. But with that glyph, actually tier 2 and back. The Death Prophet ultimate is not going to last long enough.
Okay, Bone blows the Dagon, and he's being pursued out. He's got the Lifestealer inside. That's a nice shackle shot that disjoints things. ZXC in trouble and has to pop his BKB and has to retreat away from that. That was his 9-second charge. Okay, now here's the issue. You use Exorcism, you get a tier 2, but you haven't killed anyone as of right now. Let's see if they want to pursue this out. If they have to fall back here, this might end up being a big win for Cloud9 anyway, because Roche is going to be up, and they're going to be able to fight with Exorcism on cooldown. And nice swap. That's the difference maker, and what a play from Moon. Sing Sing now caught as well, eating a lot of damage and barely able to make it away. Moon still right on his tail. And, oh, he could just throw it out. Oh, what a force snap from Sing Sing. Barely able to escape, but the reinitiation out of Cloud9. The buyback from Envy as he jumps in on the back of Puck. And now able to get 2 return kills. Freezing Field is up. CXC about to go down. Power shot from Pylai Dai, who has really turned it on, coming down the stretch here in these late minutes of this 3rd game of this series. What a thrilling exchange on both sides. And there was just great plays to bring down Envy to begin with. Then the buyback, the reinitiation with Bone 7. This is trouble for PR. They did buy back on the Death Prophet, still 20 seconds off. It up, and yeah, they're going to look to take this Roshan quick.
Yeah, Power Rangers just had to assess there. Once they picked out the Lifestealer, do we get aggressive despite the fact that we don't have Exorcism, or do we just back up and take Roshan with the advantage? And obviously, they should have taken Roshan. That was one of those classic situations where you get one pick off and you get a little overconfident. You go, yes, they're on the run. We took down the big damage dealer. You forget about buybacks, right? Lifestealer buying back and coming back into the game. They just completely bursted down the Lifestealer. He did nothing in that team fight, even though he was ready with a big Vendetta and looking to be able to blink and hit a good Impale as well. Now they're on the defensive. Cloud9 control the Roche Pit entirely and can start going for it if they want to. Now, it's a little bit difficult. They don't have the greatest physical damage right now, so they have to actually commit a few more heroes than you would like to see into the Roche Pit, and that just leads to trouble. So they can't really do it without a pickoff. They need some sort of advantage right now if they're going to try and do Roshan and just control this game and push it later and later and later. However, Death Prophet now being able to pick up soon into that heart is looking pretty damn tanky. I'm surprised he didn't go for a Ghost Scepter just yet, but some of these other supports will be able to pick up items like Ghost Scepter, like Force Staff, that are so strong at being able to just kite around that Lifestealer that this game, even though it's going later, there is opportunities for Power Rangers to kind of abuse the Lifestealer carry.
Taking a look at the KD, we can see Moon has played a hell of a game on the Vengeful Spirit. 9-3-7 for him, and can't ask for better. Behind that, you have Bone with 8-4, 6-5 for Envy, which is certainly not where he'd like to be. Behind that, kind of a grab bag, but Sing Sing also hasn't had nearly the impact that I think either of us expected him to, but they're going to move into the Roche Pit. Let's see if PR is going to have a chance to contest this. They do land the ultimate. The Ice Blast from Ancient Apparition, that makes them think twice and makes them actually pull all the way out of the Roche Pit now. But yeah, this next Roshan, it's so important to both teams. And with everything off cooldown for Power Rangers, 20 seconds till Ice Blast is ready again. This is their time to shine. If they can execute now, this could end up being the difference maker. This could end up giving them another big upset on 2 consecutive days.
Yeah, whenever we go into this sort of situation where it's very, very tense, I always give the advantage to the team who has the initiation. I feel that's really Cloud9 because of all the squishy heroes that are on Power Rangers and the high-level Dagon that is up on Puck now is that Dagon 5. Just the sheer amount of burst damage between Puck's combo, Lifestealer popping out, and the Dagon will be able to wipe out one hero, or at least put them low enough that they're no longer effective in a team fight. Even if it's Death Prophet and her 2,400 health, that's still a significant chunk to take away from them. So I do think Cloud9 have the better deal right now, being able to, they just have to find the initiation, and the ultimate already out from Death Prophet is a big disadvantage.
And Venge going to pick up that Aegis. They weren't in position to engage. They might try to catch him coming out. There's Pilot Eye, misses with the Shackle Shot, swapped back in. That's going to be a free, no, actually 4 staffs to safety. No jump in. I'm a little surprised there wasn't a jaunt there. That could have been a really nice opportunity for a coil and a waning rift. Probably could have gotten 3 or 4. And yeah, I'm just surprised. Cloud9 seems a little bit hesitant. Not that time, though. Cheshire Cat in trouble coming back in. Envy going to work on Moon. Moon will end up having the Aegis pop take. Brought down next, ZXC with his ultimate. Now on down, not a whole lot he can do. Sing Sing hits the Deafening Blast. Moon helps to finish up Eternal Envy. 89 Sing Sing both silenced out. Can't do much but trade auto attacks. There's the Dagon from Bone. He will be able to get Moon a second time, though. At 70 seconds, he's now down. Bone wants to try and go toe-to-toe with ZXC. Here comes Sing Sing looking to find a way to catch up. Blackberry has been used behind that J4 off the buyback, spotted out in the woods. Gets off the Ice Blast, not that it matters. He actually does manage to Ghost Scepter himself out of some trouble, but Dagon off cooldown, and they managed to get yet another kill. So Envy, the only one down permanently right now. He's down for 65 seconds to the 3 down for PR. And let's see what Cloud9 wants to do. They managed to get the Aegis. Pretty sure they forced the ships to be used. Yeah, it's already gone. So they have a chance to maybe bang away on a tier 3 right now. I mean, there are naked racks in mid as well, but instead they seem to just be moving.
Yeah, right now what's really, really awesome about Power Rangers is they could have actually won that team fight. With the way that they're kiting away around the Lifestealer, they actually are able to take this late game really, really well. The big problem with that last team fight was that Vengeful Spirit popped the BKB pre-Aegis. If he had actually just gone down and just saved the BKB for the second life, they would have completely wiped that team fight, because then you wouldn't have had to deal with all those constant disables and that heavy amount of magic damage. Again, him very, very squishy is just a big issue right now. So he depends so heavily on that BKB. So his second life was pretty much useless. If he had BKB there, I think Power Rangers could have been able to win that team fight, and they would be controlling the game right now. But what I love about Cloud9, they're so good. I'm pretty sure there's someone, like Eternal Envy is one of those guys who actually calls out. You have the normal ultimates that you call out on cooldown, you know, a black hole, you know, those sort of things. But the smaller ultimates, a lot of people just kind of leave them be and go, yeah, it should be up about now, or should be on cooldown about now, or something like that. But Cloud9 are timing the Death Prophet ultimate perfectly every single time. When you were talking about the situations where you see those good opportunities to jump, but they don't go, it's because the Death Prophet ultimate. They're waiting till the last 5 seconds of where it's going down before they initiate.
Here we go. Tornado, EMP, gonna catch a couple. There's Bone7 jumping right on top of him this time, trying to go to work. Swap on ZXC, gets him back out of trouble. Not so lucky for the Witch Doctor or Cheshire Cat, who ends up dropping. The ultimate now being kited out. And ZXC wants to move back forward to get those Exorcist Ghosts on the melee racks. Cloud9 wants to zone them out and will be able to effectively do so, as they were able to disjoint things just a little bit. And Moon able to make it away too. But yeah, what we saw right there, even though Exorcism was up, that's kind of why it surprised me they didn't jump when they had a chance there. I mean, they can outburst the Exorcism and then fall back. They can bring these heroes down, especially heroes like the Witch Doctor, even the Venge. If you can catch her out, hit her with a silence and or a stun, something like that, you're going to be in good shape. She is going for a straight-up butterfly now, one would imagine, with the Talisman Invasion on the way. Oh, Puck actually got caught with the Ice Blast there. And, yep, will end up dropping a gem because of it. So, phase shifted to give himself some time to spend his gold. But PR still continuing to hang and bang in this game. Coming up now on 50 minutes shows no signs of slowing down. The gold graph is all but negligible at this stage of the game whenever it's less than 10 digits, or excuse me, less than 5 digits. But just for the record, 4,000 gold is the advantage of Cloud9. They've been in the lead for about the last 15 minutes or so. And the experience heavily in their favor, though.
Yeah, we're getting to the point where experience also doesn't matter as much, except for certain heroes. Invoker is one of those who gets a lot of benefit over the levels after 16. Most of the time, hitting level 16 is the most important part. Everything after that, extra stats, and, you know, it helps, but it isn't really as important as a sheer gold advantage. So Invoker being a decently high level is very, very important. You're actually getting damage from that Exort now, rather than just the typical utility you see from a Quas-Wex combo. But it goes to show people who think that Dagon, right, is just pick up level 1 Dagon and it's only useful in the first 25 minutes are completely wrong. Dagon is actually still very, very powerful because BKBs are not as prevalent going into the late game. This is a perfect example of a kind of game where Dagon is very, very good. These squishy heroes like Vengeful Spirit that are just so squishy, kind of glass cannon style physical damage carries, are very, very susceptible to these Dagons. And the initiation every single time, you said it perfectly, like they're able to burst down heroes and get away from the Death Prophet ultimate.
Shackle Shock's there, and the nice swap from Moon gets CXC back to safety. Will it be enough? They're going to try to chase him uphill. Mech's going to be used to get him back into fighting shape. Very nice play. Moon has been money in the bank with his swaps and has saved so many people and really saved so many fights throughout this whole game. CXC drops there. He may end up paying the price. Does decide to BKB and try to TP away. Will be able to make it away as the coil had already been spent. But 50 minutes in, Death Prophet, that push, once again thwarted by Cloud9. They're missing one set of racks. That's just the ranged racks down at bottom. So ostensibly a fairly even game right now, though that bottom lane is going to get progressively worse as they ignore it.
Yeah, and then looking at Cloud9, they actually don't have a whole lot of item progression. As we talk about, like, Mjolnir is going to be up soon for Lifestealer, but that's not amazing. He is looking pretty dangerous if he's able to get on heroes, but again, late game Lifestealer is not the greatest because you're easily kited within that rage timer, and then after that, controlled up. Invoker, Sing Sing, you said it early. About 10 minutes ago, where we didn't really see as much of an impact as we expected. And that's exactly the thing. Like, you look at his gold, he, after his Necronomicon, has picked up pretty much nothing. He now has an Ultimate Orb, but still no Scythe of Vice. And that's a very, very key item to have. If they had had a Scythe of Vice there in that situation against Death Prophet, the reduction of being able to stop some of that reduction from armor and that sort of thing could have been able to actually kill the Death Prophet. So those sort of single target disables, very, very important right now, and they just don't have it. Meanwhile, I actually see a decent amount of growth up on Power Rangers. Death Prophet is beginning to max out, and that's a problem, but the support items are also very, very big as well in this sort of game. We have the mobility coming out from Cheshire Cat. Looks like we're going to see a Halberd coming out from the Witch Doctor. We already have a Ghost Scepter up on J4. If they can get in a couple more Force Staff and a couple more Ghost Scepters, they'll be able to, again, still kite around. They have to deal with the burst right now, though. The burst damage coming out from that puck is the biggest issue, and it's why they're letting ZXC run so far forward and just letting the swap being the saving grace.
They're going to jump on CXC, get off the waning wrist, shackle shot, only caught a couple of creeps behind that. EMP trying to zone them out. There has not been a concerted engage as of right now. ZXC, so tanky, will be hit with the side device. Can they follow it up? Nope, Force Staff's there to get him back to safety. And now the coil got all four, and here comes Envy. Ready to go to work. Take down Cheshire Cat. CXC able to stay alive because of the Halberd. AUI tried to use the freezing field, was stunned out of it by the magic missile, and now Power Rangers trying to turn this around. Another good swap from Moon. That'll keep J4 alive. Nope, never mind. Dagon in the back says no thank you. And Moon ends up dying because of it as well. They keep the racks alive. They win a big fight. Only ZXC remains standing. Roshan up as well. So this could potentially be a free Aegis and a free set of cheese for Cloud9. And that was what they've been looking for all game long. That money initiation from Bone. Envy finally beginning to punch at his own weight where we thought he would throughout the entire game, given free farm. They get the job done, and that might just be the point where Power Rangers runs out of gas.
Yeah, Cloud9's strategy is working out beautifully. If Power Rangers try and quickly commit to taking a Rax with all 5 heroes, they get a good coil and burst down a couple of supports, and it forces Power Rangers back. If they just leave the Death Prophet forward, which was a good adjustment by Power Rangers, I have to say. Like, that was smart, letting ZXC be the forward momentum, knowing that that guy cannot get bursted down, and they can just have the Vengeful Spirit swap and then pop the BKB and turn and fight. Like, that's a good idea in practice. However, Cloud9 are adjusting that change in Power Rangers strategy by just being able to kind of push back Death Prophet if they can, and once he starts backing up, he groups up with the rest of their team. That Death Prophet ultimate, again, a perfect situation where Cloud9 instantly initiate the moment that Death Prophet ultimate is like 5 seconds away from going down. So they jump in, and by the time the rest of Cloud9 is there, there's no damage whatsoever from ZXC, and it's just a carry Vengeful Spirit trying to back them up, and that's really not enough right now. Until he has a Butterfly and a Daedalus, he's not a very heavy hitter. He depends heavily on mid-game damage, where his physical damage is actually kind of intimidating, mixed in with the minus armor that he innately has. That is when he hits kind of hard. As we start going later, he's not the greatest late game carry because he typically is not 6-slotted due to his lack of farming abilities. So this is where Vengeful Spirit, yeah, as we get later and later, maybe we see a Daedalus, he has an opportunity to actually be a decent late game carry. But right now, he just doesn't have the damage items to be that solo physical damage output for Power Rangers.
We can see Cloud9 smoking up towards the Dire Side Secret Shop. In the meantime, PR has been waiting here in mid, and we can actually see the Forge Spirit dragging a bunch of creeps here out of mid. Back here in mid, AUI just continuing to try to hold the base together, so it will be a 4-on-5 if they decide to engage. Butterfly done on Moon, and he's looking better and better. I mean, he's still only going to get so much mileage out of a carry Venge late, but certainly giving himself every chance for success. And it looks like we just saw a ping there. And yep, now the power shots and PR has been spotted out. So they're going to have to try to reset and try to move elsewhere. Cloud9 going to go ahead and send one back to deal with bottom. That's going to be Bone 7 with Envy, knowing that was getting just a little bit too big. Look at the big creep wave now, moving down mid, and PR is going to be able to rush into the Roche pit, forcing the back out of Cloud9. This is going to be another Aegis going to them, and I'll tell you, it's been bend but don't break so far for Cloud9, and I really thought that they were going to be able to take another big engagement here this game. But so far, unless they get more people there, I mean, they've got Pylai Die there, they've got Sing Sing in position. Yeah, Bench manages to get the Aegis. Cheese is down, that'll be picked up by F-God. I thought for sure they were going to have the advantage in the ensuing Roche fight. Instead, PR takes it for free. Now there's going to be a shackle. They caught Moon. Can they bring him down? They can. Aegis gone already. Here comes the death form, but it doesn't matter. Envy just doing work with the coil behind the fight. F-God eats the cheese. And that's going to be enough with the help of Moon, fresh off the Aegis respawn, to let them reset a little bit. There was a buyback from the Ancient Apparition, and we can see Sing Sing securing his retreat with the Ice Wall. Bone 7 has taken on a passenger. Let's see. Out comes Envy going to work, and the Dagon getting a kill on F-God. Up though, and he's going to have to try to jump away. Manages to blink to the south and get himself to safety. Pylai Die over there as well, being chased by a creep. Will go ahead and show off his own blink dagger and look at the thing. However, 3 seconds until the Death Prophet's ult is back available. So even though a bit of a weird mix of exchanges there for both teams. Nothing that PR could do to follow it up. And they did cost them their Aegis and their cheese. So whatever advantage that got them now negated.
Yeah, Power Rangers thinking that the Aegis and cheese was going to be a big enough advantage that they start pushing out into the enemy side of the map, but they didn't really realize that Cloud9 are ready to fight that. They don't really care about the Aegis so much as that Death Prophet ultimate. And really, really good job getting themselves out of that team fight. That was a really good play right here where they had the Lifestealer jumping inside of the puck and infesting inside and blinking out, because they knew with the Aegis, with Moon coming back into play, all they had to do was just kind of kite it around. They're going to be able to pick off supports. They're going to be able to do that. And sure, maybe they could actually man up and fight the Death Prophet and the Venge without a DP ultimate, but they got the pickoffs they needed. They won a decent team fight. They're not going to take a straight-up man fight right now. When they have all this initiation, they have the ability to just kind of play Power Rangers as much as possible. PR is still doing a good job dealing with it as much as they can, but you know, as it stands right now, Cloud9 can just wait for one bad move from PR. One bad positioning error is all it takes for them to be able to do so much, because now Bone7 is doing so much work. He picked up not only the Dragon 5 earlier, but he now has a refresher that was picked up about 5 minutes ago. This means even more bursts. This means heroes are dropping like flies, and you have more control coming out with that coil. It means BKB is sort of essential right now for Power Rangers. They have to hit their BKBs pretty much perfectly. Otherwise, they're just going to get rolled over by a numbers advantage from Cloud9, because they jump in, they pop one hero, and all of a sudden it's 5v4 or 5v3.
There are just so many things that could swing any of these fights. A good swap from Moon and well-placed silence coming out from the Death Prophet could really change a fight. I mean, a 6-second duration silence at this stage of the game, if you manage to catch something like a puck and a Lifestealer with that, that could be gigantic in and of its own right. So it's a very thin line for both teams to be walking right now. They forced the back out of F-God, and now they're going to try to charge out and get a return kill on ZXC as he tries to retreat along with Moon, unable to catch up with them. So the game continues to go longer and longer, and Envy gets bigger and bigger. He's got 3,700 gold tucked away. And unless he plans to sell his drums and buy something else, I mean, he's essentially full up. I mean, it would make sense to sell that and maybe look for a Basher and Abyssal at this point. But for the most part, I mean, he's hitting pretty hard. This is a Sing Sing himself. I mean, he's got the gem. He could sell his own drums. He's already got up a Scythe of Ice. We'll have to see if he wanted to do something like another Silence, like an Orchid, something like that. But there's just so many ways either of these teams could trade a fight, who could absolutely swing a fight in their own favor. That we're in the unique position of broadcasters where so much of this is just coming down to wait and see. And it's fun whenever you have games that go this late, now hitting 60 minutes right on the money. An hour-long game, and when you look at the gold graph, 7,500 gold in favor of Cloud9, but again, just matters so little when you look at the way this is going to play out practically. If anything, the experience, even though experience becomes less important late, when it's this big of a margin coming up on 25,000, that does begin to come into play a little bit.
Yeah, things are always very, very tense, and it's usually movement that proves the biggest difference maker. If you can find a pickoff and turn that into a buyback down on a very, very critical hero, that might be just enough an advantage for you to be able to finally man up and just 5-man down middle. So pickoffs are going to be very, very important for both teams. However, Power Rangers don't have the same ability to get pickoffs as Cloud9 do. Mainly it's Cheshire Cat, who's going to be looking for those kind of initiations. However, he doesn't really have enough damage. He has to rely on the Ice Blast, and even then, it's only very, very squishy heroes like Crystal Maiden, maybe even Wind Ranger, who he could pick off. So Power Rangers right now, they're just kind of waiting for Cloud9 to make the mistake, to come to them. But at the same time, Cloud9 are willing to just farm up. Like, they can just go ahead and take control of this map, farm up as much as possible. They don't have nearly as much to worry about in pick-off potential. Now have an MKB up on the Lifestealer. I'm really expecting a Basher, because this means that they not only have really strong lockdown and magic damage up against the Vengeful Spirit during that before BKB is popped, right? But then after the BKB is popped, it means they have additional single target lockdown. The Lifestealer just focuses on the Venge, and they initiate after the Death Prophet ultimate is down, what other damage is there really up for Power Rangers? They have a Ice Blast, which is useful, but only in conjunction with damage. Witch Doctor, Maledict, only in conjunction with damage. His ultimate is not really doing that much because he doesn't have Aghanims. And Nyx Assassin, like these supports coming out from Power Rangers don't do a whole lot. It's just the 2 cores, and as long as you lock them down, you're going to win these team fights pretty handedly.
Oh, yeah. I don't mind the MKB pickup so much for the exact reason you're talking about. Just another way to focus down the Venge. I mean, you're going to be able to burst her down very effectively with Puck as well if he holds on to his Dagon before she, until after her BKB expires, which is only 4 seconds at this point unless she decides to rebuy it. And that might honestly be an option. I mean, sitting at just a 4-second BKB, got 4,200 gold tucked away. That could be a big difference maker in and of itself. The buyback's becoming a big deal. Neither Envy nor ZXC have buybacks, at least as of right now. And both teams just continuing to really take their time here. We're seeing them split up and try to move a little bit across the map, but they are certainly being cautious as hell about it and taking very, very few risks for the most part. PR, it looks like they might be ready to muster for another push. ZXC is as built as he's going to be, sitting at 3,200 HP with a heart, as well as a Yule Scepter to keep himself alive. Moon, on the other hand, very much close to 6-slotted status as well, depending on if he wants to sell something off or rebuy that BKB. But more importantly for FGod, Halberd is pretty much done now. He'll have that Halberd in his inventory, basically, yeah, like right now. So the fact that he has that Halberd, that could end up being that last X factor that PR needs to really turn these fights in their favor permanently.
Yeah, honestly, there aren't many other, damage items up on the Venge. You know, Daedalus is my first reaction. He still does not have an orb effect, which typically is going to be Desolator, but that's oftentimes more of a mid-game oriented damage item for Venge. It allows you to just kind of overpower people with this glass cannon build. Maybe a minute. I feel Daedalus is a little bit more late-game oriented for the Vengeful, but other than that, there's not a whole lot of pickoffs that are going to change up the game. I think ZXC maybe like consider a refresher. I mean, I don't know what you're going to be selling here. Maybe the Yule Scepter, since you're tanky enough now with your heart, to consider refresher, because your whole entire team fight is relying on that ultimate so badly that maybe he should consider that. But those aren't game changers. Those are small mitigating factors. There isn't a whole lot of items that's going to change the game for Power Rangers. Well, it's the exact opposite for Cloud9. They still have a lot of growth available to them. Sing Sing is not very farmed up at all. Has his Scythe of Ice, right? But he still has things that can replace the drum. He can hand off the gem. He has 2 different slots available to him where he can build up Aghanims, build Refresher. Like, those are big items that actually change a lot for him. Lifestealer, you know, he's 6-slotted. Maybe consider a Basher instead of a Vlad's or something like that. But other than that, small amount of growth open for him. But the supports do have some of their items that they can pick up too. Ghost Scepters, Force Staffs, those sort of big support items, Halberds as well, that they can build into. So I think right now, the way that this game is playing out, this sort of slow farm, we're just getting more farm on both teams, I think is playing the way of Cloud9. But again, it's small potatoes. At this point in time, it's just Cloud9. Whoever gets the initiation on the team fight, whoever gets the pick-off, is going to be winning this game.
Looks like Cloud9 giving a lot of emphasis to Roshan. They know he's going to be back up sometime in the near future. In reality, going to be about 70 seconds from now. And they may just stake this spot out and just say, that's fine. We can wait however long it takes. They do have to worry about the lanes pushing, though. And they do send back Bone 7 as well as Eternal Envy to help deal with that farm at top. And now going to move them on up to mid. And PR, that gives them the chance to move back up and reclaim their side of the map. Forge Spirit still hanging out down there. Moon's going to go ahead and duck in and bring the thing down and remove any vision they would have hoped to have had there. It's going to be about 30 seconds, if even that, until Roche is back up. And we've seen how quickly PR can take a Roshan, so Cloud9 needs to get everyone in position and get them there soon. In the meantime, ZXC makes himself an appetizing target. We'll be able to phase away. No, there's the blink and the Scythe of Ice. Force Staff is up. Will he get there? Shackle doesn't latch. He had help coming from behind in the Invoker, who had a Scythe of Ice as well. If that Shackle shot latches, that could have potentially turned this game completely around. Instead, they know they committed some resources there, and with all that done, looks like everyone wants to reset for Roshan, who will be spawning 3, 2, 1 right now.
I love how Roshan spawns and is ready to fight. The Force Spirit sitting a little bit too close. There goes that vision for Cloud9. However, they do know Roshan's up. And as quickly as Power Rangers can do Roshan, it takes a lot of commitment for them because it takes Exorcism at this point in time to take down Rosh. Otherwise, he's a little bit too tanky for just the Vengeful Spirit to do it very, very quickly. So they're going to have to commit with the Exorcism. We've seen this time and time again.
Coil from the jump on the ZXC. They are going to be able to get Cheshire Cat. All right, buybacks. Cheshire Cat does not have buyback. He is down for the duration. This is going to be of Roshan, or at least it should be. It would be very chancy for PR to risk a 4-on-5 just to save this Roshan. In fact, they're not. Oh, they're going to go right on Moon. Moon got caught asleep at the wheel. Was sitting near the top and never even had time to react. Pipe popped, and ZXC has to retreat and will be caught with a cold snap. Can they track him down? One more jump. That refresher paying for itself with yet another coil available to Bone 7. Down he goes. And that's going to be a huge win for Cloud9. The creeps are already on their way up. There's no tier 3, so it's relevant. Going to work, and GG is called. Not even going to wait to play it out. They know with a lack of buyback, they're going to buy back on the Death Prophet now. But they know with lack of buyback on Cheshire Cat, lack of buyback on F-God, even with him up. Okay, never mind. I guess it was fake. They bought back. And now they're going to try to fight it out. In the meantime, comes in, be moving in. CXC. Yeah, that's what you guys get. Calling the fake GG. F-God next on the list as he's caught by Side Device. Blown to pieces now. GG for real. Almost 70 minutes it took, man. What? This has been entertaining as hell. Cloud9, though, able to get things on track and able to walk away. 2-1 victors here at the D2CL. This has been one of the more interesting series from a draft standpoint, as well as from an entertainment standpoint that I've had a chance to watch in quite some time.
Yeah, we've had some really amazing series so far in the Dota 2 Champions League, and this is definitely rivals among them. Power Rangers almost being the underdogs to take out Cloud9, and that would have been a very impressive win. Still, though, taking one game off of them is good enough, and a very, very tight Game 3. You know, I said it was going to come down to, like, just initiation in general, pick-offs. I didn't really expect Power Rangers to get picked off so badly that they don't even get a team fight in. Like, it went out with a whimper, pretty much. One hero leads into 3 others, and they all go down, and all of a sudden, without buybacks and with control over the Roche pit, Power Rangers have no way to be able to come back. So eventually, Cloud9, taking it late game, will be able to overcome them with the Lifestealer Invoker. But that's going to be it for the Dota 2 Champions League. We do still have the MLG TKO tournament, which we have to get underway. We're already behind schedule, so we're going to jump into that real quickly. But before that, AC, thank you so much for coming on, man. I would have been exhausted if I had to solo cast this just very, very long series so far. So thank you so much for coming on, man. Do you have any last shout-outs?
Yeah, just my pleasure. And as always, thanks to you, to Toby, to Join Dota, and of course to the fine folks at D2CL for having me on. And I'm not sure if I'm going to be on next week. I honestly haven't checked the schedule with that, but nonetheless, it's been an absolute pleasure over the last few weeks working with all of you guys. We've got rare codes to give away. You can find mine on Twitter at AC, at AYESEE. And I know you've got to run. And just one last little plug as well. Well, 2 things. One, make sure you tweet at Toby1. Let him know he's feeling a little bit under the weather. I'm sure he'd love to hear from his fans and love to hear that you're sitting in the well wishes and hoping he gets better soon. And 2, keep an eye out. There's going to be an announcement coming out that I'll be making sometime very soon about something very interesting. I think most of the Dota community is going to be really excited for that. So coming up very soon, there should be a pretty big announcement. You can stay tuned on Twitter and on Reddit for that. Once again, thank you so much, my friend, and have fun with MLG.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Should be a blast. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this series in Daily Motion. Cloud9 do take Power Rangers 2-1 in the Dota 2 Champions League. We do have, again, AC's talked about it, we have Twitter giveaways going on. The rares from Dota 2 Lounge, big shout out to those guys for giving us rares to give away each and every day. If you get the code, you put it into Dota2Lounge.com/giveaway. If you're the first to put in the code, you will get 10 free rares. So go over, check out Twitter at AC, at DotaCap. Capitalist and at Nahaz Dota is where you're going to find those 3 different keys. Anyway, guys, MLG is coming up next. MLG TKO tournament. We do have another Power Rangers game. This time they're going to be facing up against Team Empire, which if Power Rangers play just as well as they did today in this series, should be one hell of a match. And then after that, Empire, they do have a doubleheader. They're going to be facing up against Fnatic for our last game of the night. So definitely want to be able to check out those. So thanks so much, guys. My name's Dota Capitalist. We are done here for the Daily Motion stream, and we will see you for the MLG TKO tournament on the MLG stream. Good night.